Welcome back to Adobe live from the Awwwards here in Amsterdam. And for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to be together with Martijn van der Doos.
Hey.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My Dutch is getting so much better.
All these difficult names.
All these difficult names, right? Yeah. Crazy stuff. Anyway, Martijn is a founder of the design studio Wonderland and the Cool Club.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about both, or
yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, we can talk about both. So, like I always say, the benefit of being live here on Adobe Live is, of course, that we have the chat right here in front of us. And if you have any questions for Martijn, please use the chat and ask us. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, come on over to behance.net/live and to get the full experience. That's where you have all the replays, the schedule, and yeah, let's get to know Martijn. Well,
what do you want to know from me?
Everything. We want. How did you? Well, tell us a little bit about you. Like, let's just pretend. Hey, Martijn, I'm Rufus. Who are you?
Hey,
what do you do?
Yeah, Martijn. I've started Wonderland, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, I don't know the exact number, but it all began with like the frustration of working for someone. And I don't know. I don't like working for someone.
So did you work in a big company, or?
Yeah, I worked at a big advertising agency, and I didn't like the creative director there. I didn't like the vibe there. There were a lot of people going in and going out. And then that's when I thought, well, let's begin my own company. And I could go to design by myself. So I just started my company. It's called French and Dutch because I'm born in Paris and raised in Amsterdam.
Okay.
Because I thought it was a good name.
Yeah.
But, but people will think I was a translation company.
Or it sounds like an American TV series from the 70s.
Thank you.
French and Dutch, you know. French and Dutch in there, yeah.
But yeah, that didn't work out because people were thinking I was a translation company. So I changed the name then to Wonderland, and I began working with clients, projects, and well, things came along. And I think now we are with 12 people in Amsterdam and making cool things.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's actually around the corner here.
Okay. Maybe I can come visit.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though, because I hear that more and more of people, okay, you know, agency work is not for everybody.
No.
You know, some people love it, some people hate it, but I see more and more people actually, you know, quitting their job to do their own thing, and I think this is something that has become possible more and more in today's world, where you know you don't need to be a big company to have exposure. You don't need to be a big company to have people find you or look at your work. So I think 5 years. So what? So
yeah, I think it's also difficult to have your own company. I mean, there's a lot of positive things, of course, of having your own company. You can do the things, you have your own time and these kind of things. But if you have people working for yourself, then you need to take off the finance, you need to take off the hiring things. And what if if the clients don't pay on time? What do you do? Yeah. Well, there are a lot of different things where it's just not about having your own company because it's cool. It's also about finding the right balance between work that you do and getting paid on time and these kind of things.
So do you find yourself like losing a lot of time in these other things that you wouldn't want to be doing?
Well, in the beginning, you don't know, right? You have to figure out, and now we have like an okay system to do this kind of things actually.
Oh, and Richard G says, I have a question. Who's your favorite employee? Hope it's not Lawrence.
Well, yeah,
we're not going to talk about that.
I think it's Richard. He's a really sweet little girl.
Okay. There you go, Richard. You asked for it, you got it. All right, so Wonderland. Yes, tell us a little bit about how you approach client work and how what people, I guess, do you do some scouting or do people find you? How does it work, and how does a project workflow work for you?
We have never done new business, so all the projects that come to us are actually of the work that we have done. So all the work that we want to feature has to be of the highest quality and highest execution level, because that's the work that you're getting actually in the end, right?
Yeah,
so the process is more like that people come in and then we say, well, what do you want to visualize? We begin with ideation. We begin then with kind of the strategy part and design development and the QA, and then use the ideation part over and over again actually.
Yeah, and like Julia says, that's the Wonderland leaks. So, are there any projects that you can show us, like to to give us a sense of what you do at Wonderland?
Yeah, of course. I will just go to some of the work that we have done.
Oh, so also one thing that you told me before the interview is that you don't use Adobe XD.
Not yet.
You don't, not yet. Okay, but let's. I have something for you right here.
I'm
There you go.
getting to eat Adobe
Yes,
XD.
you're gonna get to eat an Adobe XD waffle right here on Adobe Live, and that's gonna be the first. No thanks. I've had too many already. So how does it taste?
Oh, it tastes really good.
It tastes really good. There you go. There you go. That's your first impression of Adobe XD.
And my first experience with the Adobe XD.
There you go. Yeah.
Really good.
Really good. Okay. Woohoo.
Well, actually, the project where I'm most proud of is actually working for Tikkie, like a major bank app. It has over 4 million users in the Netherlands, and I can open it maybe. Is that? Oh, it does load the video. I see. But it was actually really simple, and it was actually really a hard project because they have an app. It's being used by a lot of users, and we need to create a website that's similar to this app, but they didn't have any brand guidelines. So they came to us and said, Wonderland, how can you make something similar for our website as you have done for the app? And there were so many users, so many different stakeholders involved, and it's really hard to find the balance, and as well with the Tikkie team. But in the end, we have found a great collaboration with each other, and we ended up doing a lot of animation, a lot of website-related stuff, and the most important thing is also really converting website. It's not just a beautiful piece of work. It actually, it converts for the business.
Of course,
and that's
that's why you have you need.
Yeah, but a lot of people
conversion rate.
also, make websites. They just look beautiful and usable, but they don't convert.
They look useful.
Yeah,
but maybe they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, and we began making some animations with some nice photography. So it's really in line with their app. And if you're a Dutch user, then you can you find it really similar actually. So this is a really cool project.
So this is something that you find yourself more and more doing, like expanding the reach of the experience, because it always starts from a specific part of the company or as part of this whole system. Like for example, you said in this case it was mobile first for you.
Yeah.
And then of course they probably saw that they had a good return rate from the mobile application, and then they thought, hey, Wonderland could do wonders for our website as well.
We don't do boring, eh? We always try in each experience we create. We want to evoke. We want to make really cool emotions, and I think together with our great team here in Amsterdam, Lawrence, you as well. We're trying to make some really cool things, and I think it's a team effort, and I'm standing here, but the whole team is like the
of
props
course,
actually.
yeah.
So that's really cool. And some other things, some other work that is also nice actually is like this. We've built a city of an head forward. It's called.
Oh wow!
It's made I think in 2D, if I'm correct, 2D, 3D, and we made this interactive city where people can click on it and they can interact with the different case studies that they have. And we built this from the ground up, and they came to us with this, hey, Wonderland, you can do wonders, right? But how can you make something different than the other businesses in our fields? And then we began concepting again with the ideation part and see, well, what is the best concept that fits with their philosophy? Then we came up with like an interactive city, and I think the website is going to be launched, I think, hopefully in 2 weeks or so.
Oh, awesome!
But then people can interact with the city, and the buildings in the city are the case studies. I think it looks really cool with some flying planes, and we don't have a particular style for each project. We always see what concept fits best with our business, and then we see what works the best.
Yeah, there's some agencies, of course, who have their style, and clients would go to that agency for that specific style.
Yeah.
But I've always been a big believer in first meeting the client and then like making their style, because basically you're trying to solve a problem for them and not for your agency. And I think that's the best approach to morph your style to answer all sorts of different questions.
What we also see is that, or what I see is that we see a lot of things on the web that are beautiful and usable, but how can we add more meaning to our lives by using design? And I think that's going to be our next topic for Wonderland, to say, well, we can make these beautiful things, but how does it improve someone's life using the website? Or is it actually helping someone business succeed? And these two topics, I think, for me, are really important in the near future, is to say, well, how can we blend this in with our beautiful execution? And
so yeah, this is something that comes up more and more, and it's not surprising that we have more and more apps to help create experiences, and because this is really what it's all about. It's not enough to be a pretty thing anymore.
No.
Now you have to think about user empathy, user like that they have a good experience with the app, that they want to come back, that they want to use that app instead of another one because it's so simple, or
if they get frustrated about using an app, for example, with the different tools, with the different prototyping tools, if it does fulfill your needs, you're going to someone else who's fulfilling your needs. So how can you create an experience within the app or in web or someone else to have these users with you and stay with you?
Julia is asking, how long did it take you? How long did you work on this banking app?
For a Tiki. Well, we've created the banking app itself was created by Tiki itself. We were supposed to be created the website and the ongoing thing. Well, it was actually starting in May of 2018, and we finished the website in October, so 6 months or so, 7 months. Well, it's quite a lot because we normally do projects within 3 months, and that's what we aim, and then we can move on to the next project. But we still have clients from 4 years ago, so my personal relationship is really important with our clients. Sounds really a bit cliche, guys, but but
there's a lot of cliches in the creative industry, but they're true.
And
there's something in Dutch here, I can't read that, so.
Martijn, het ziet er geweldig uit. Do you mean me, or do you mean the work that I've done? No. Also, another thing that's quite cool, what I want to share is that in our spare time, when we don't work on client projects, we work on the Cool Club. It's like a card game we've developed.
The Cool Club. Okay, that's the second part, yes.
Yeah, so we made a card game because we found that card games are really boring. So how can we create a card game that's cool?
Yeah.
So the concept was that you can play with it, you can interact with it, so you can think about it. So we create different cards with also people.
Does it exist in the physical world as well?
Yeah. You can buy it.
Okay.
And we have it grew really small, and now we have I think a lot of retail stores throughout the Netherlands who's selling this kind of card game. So these are just not boring card game. It's just featuring the coolest people in the world, or at least.
So what do we have here? We have the Joker.
With Einstein with John Lennon, and then here we have the coolest cars in the world. And in here with the coolest animals in the world. And it also resulted in a collaboration with Star Wars, where we made our our illustration style in the style of Star Wars, actually, together with Disney.
And Rick is asking, Martin, do you prefer XD as interface design tool or other design tools?
Well, you have to be honest.
Yeah.
So I taken the bite.
So he's taken the bite now, and he's going to try. He promised me.
Well, to be honest, I'm going to try. I haven't tried it. Can I name other tools here, or can I name other tools?
Yes, of course. I mean, we know who the competition is, so we have
I'm
no
using
problem with that.
a lot of Figma actually lately, and I've used Sketch, but I'm now using Figma and prototyping with this tool. I think it's complete for my needs actually.
Yeah.
So,
until today. Anyway, so the Star Wars cards.
Yeah, I think they're really.
Do you have any licensing problems with that, or?
Well, we did it together with them.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So they asked us. So we created, but they were really strict because every little line we need to redraw and these kind of things, and it took us some time.
Yeah, that must have been more challenging than the other cards.
Yeah, because here you just. It's also your own interpretation, right? Interpretation, because we see how this person looks in our own style, and they see how they're, it's like a different perception of things. And so back and forth of going things, we end up doing this kind of thing. So we found it really cool in these things. So within Wonderland, we always try to make cool things, and you see this is not boring, right? We make card games, we make other cool things, and Actually, it's quite interesting to also to see how we can move a bit more to the physical world rather than just staying digital.
Yeah,
And
totally. I mean, I think the digital world has to have some sort of physical counterpart somewhere. And I think this is a great example.
Yeah, and what we also do is that we have our playground, and I hope that we have our some great developers at Wonderland and also animators that we can create these experiments where we can play around with some really cool interactions that we maybe can use in the future for projects. So it's also cool to talk about with each other to see
and to try things out.
Like to it's also about playing things and not being too serious.
And there's a question about that from Adriano. Awesome work. Just wondering, how would you create a beautiful and meaningful experience on a low-tech platform, or would you only make experiences for high-tech instances?
That's a good question, actually. What does he mean?
I don't really know what. Okay, so I think the answer to that question is really whatever answers the need the best, right? So if it's like low tech, if it's like.
But we see it's also for which audience we are creating something. And if something is inaccessible for a certain audience, that we don't really use high tech. We always look to see, okay, well, what's the end user? What does he or she wants to do? And then we're going to see, okay, what kind of animation, what kind of tech we can use to make the interaction as wow as possible.
Adriano says, sorry, I work in a country that's still using 2G and 3G tech. Okay, so that's what you mean. It's like bandwidth. Okay, mobile bandwidth mainly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's, of course, it's really hard to make something on 2D and 3G.
Because internet in Holland works very well.
We're really fast internet.
So they test everything here and says, but it works. And then maybe you're in a country with 2G and 3G. And
it's of course much harder to create something like that. See what's possible.
Yeah.
Right, to see what's possible within your bandwidths or your internet speeds, and try to look for the boundaries there.
So when you develop, for example, do you take that into consideration, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For example, with the Tiki website, we couldn't go really crazy in technology or in animation because we knew that a lot of businesses also work on EI and also lower versions of EI, Internet Explorer. And it is really
Internet
hard.
Exploder.
Exploder. Yeah. We cannot use a lot of advanced technologies there, and in the end, it needs to drive conversion or succeed business results. So for each project, we see where we can add some magic. But also for Tiki, I think we don't do boring, right?
So, like a question that came up many times during these 2 days, KPIs. Like, do you get KPIs from your customers, or do you set your own KPIs? Like, what is it? Like when you start a project, do you use both, like KPIs for yourself and KPIs?
Well, it's actually together. And when we start a project, is that together with the client, we say, when is a project successful? And how can we reach the KPIs we set together? And what kind of methods are we going to use? And I think it's from both sides. I mean, the client comes in and says, hey, Martijn, I want to sell this amount of products. And I say, well, we can do this with, with this kind of thing. So it's really in close collaboration. And in the end, when we make something, we iterate our business success or the success of the things that we've created. So it's iteration after iteration, and then your product becomes better, and the experience for your consumers also. Yes,
because it's what you expect from any type of like service or product or software is that in the past you would make a book and then hope it sells. Like it's a beautiful book, but just hope it sells.
You hand it off and
you hand it off, and your job as a designer is done, right? The same was like in the late 90s and early 2000s, like a website, like you would make the website and you would like optimize it for Google or whatever you had to do. But then it was like, okay, done. And now it's becoming more and more complex because, complex in a good way, because creatives really have to be involved in a much broader kind of way with the customers. And I think that creates a lot of customer retention as well. I mean, people come back to you because they actually met their KPIs and...
but also they, I think the personal relationship with them is also really important. Just invest time, go out for beers. It sounds, again, really cliche, but it really helps to create a relationship with the client. And then from the beginning, you need to set really clear boundaries and goals with them. So we can say, okay, well, this is what we're going to accomplish. And how we're going to do that is up to you. And that's, of the concepts you're going to create. So I think together, we can
interesting. Rick is asking how and when did you start your experience design studio? Well, we said that at the very beginning, 25 minutes ago, almost. Yeah, it's almost gone. And
4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago. So in these 4 or 5 years, have you seen any significant changes in the industry, or something that you're very keen about, or?
Well, what I see is a lot is that we see websites that are, usable and look really beautiful, but that doesn't have any meaning to our lives. And I think right now I'm at this point where we see a lot of experience are feeling the same, and it doesn't add any value to our lives. And I want to create experience that adds value to our lives by using design. And how can you do that? Well, it's by listening to your customer and really to understand them, and then create an experience for them. I think. That will be the core of what we're going to do.
I think such exciting times for creatives, and it's never been like that before, I don't think. No.
You need also to be eager. A lot of things fail. I've failed a lot of times, but just get going and doing awesome things. Together with an awesome team, you can accomplish a lot of things.
So Tim says, thank you for your questions. Sorry if we missed some. Did we miss any questions, Tim? Tim is our super moderator. But we have just a couple more minutes. Maybe you want to show one last little animation or something that you're super fond of.
Let me see some cool things. I think this water brush is really cool. It's really smooth.
We're working on a new iPad application that's called Project Gemini.
Yeah.
And basically it'll allow you to paint watercolor.
And
nice. It mixes also oil painting. And I know you Dutch people are very keen on oil painting. So you can do oil painting in it as well. It's going to be super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and we always try to see. It looks right now we're using a lot of animation and technology, but it's always looking like you're touching the fur.
This feels so soft.
It's really soft. Huh?
It feels soft. Yeah.
You want to feel it?
Yeah, let me feel. So soft, so
really
soft. Yeah. Awesome, Martijn. Thank you so much for swinging by. Thank you so much for talking to us about Wonderland and the Cool Club. So check out the Cool Club. There's some very cool card games there, and we're going to be right back in about 5 minutes with Stephanie, Claire, and Clive from the XDI's team. All right, so stay tuned.
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
be right back, and thank you, Martijn.
Thank you, man.